let me say a very big thank you to everyone that is joining this webinar this afternoon, and it's an honor to be hosting this event. The whole background to this whole circumstances is the fact that we're going to be talking about global logistics and the disruption that is currently going on, especially in relation to the transportation, both in the aviation and in the entire gamut of the transportation industry. Let me give an example why this had to be done now. For instance, let me use the Nigerian example. A lot is going on currently in terms of the logistic circumstances in the country, okay? Because one major challenge that we are facing currently is the fact that I will talk precisely about the agro-based industry. In Nigeria, as much as educated and enlightened as we are, quite a number of the industry operators have been in touch with us, for instance, in terms of challenges they are facing in moving goods from one end of the country to the other during this lockdown, which is actually a logistic challenge. And many of them, especially those in poultry business, they are also having issues in terms of how they move goods from one end of the road to the other. I think what we're just trying to say is that the global logistic industry is currently facing a lot of challenges. Yes, some people believe that the industry is actually booming in view of the fact that they allow movement of goods and services, even across countries. However, in terms of the checking and the time it takes for some of these things to be done, there are so many lost times, so to speak. For instance, in Nigeria, like I said, we've come to discover that in Nigeria, that it's been quite difficult for the security agencies to understand the difference between essential products and also any other products. Yes, the petroleum products are allowed to move because people must be able to fuel their tanks and all that. But in terms of agro foods, they are delayed almost for more than 24 hours sometimes. So therefore, they are not able to get to their location. And so many of these industries in this sector, they are currently losing a lot of money. And hence, we are having some of these challenges that is going on. But going forward, we believe that enough conversation that we had over time within this period actually helped in mitigating some of the challenges. But it's not over yet. I'll give you an example. Just yesterday night, I got a call from a client from Israel who is into livestock business. And their own vehicles were actually stopped between Asaba and Onitsha for hours, simply because they couldn't go in. And he was devastated because the products in that vehicle are perishable products. So which means if they are there for another 24 hours, everything will go on. Millions of naira will be lost. So in terms of understanding of what people are actually transporting and what is essential is also a challenge for logistic companies because they are losing money. And thirdly, we also know that somehow moving products from maybe the likes of the United States or Nigeria, everybody is afraid. So if you're going to import a car, even though our port in Nigeria is open, but yes, the port is open, but the downtimes in terms of clearance of those goods is also an issue. So it's important for us to have this conversation. I just needed to just give that background as to what some of these organizations are going through and the feedback we are getting from the market. But I'll leave that to some of the experts who are going to be discussing this on this conference, and especially when we go over to the issue of post-COVID-19, how do we move forward, with these particular challenges and also be able to get back to our normal lives the way logistic businesses have been run. Thank you very much. I'll come back again to offer more conversation on this. Thank you.
Mr. Tushar, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Tushar, please can you come in and just give us a brief on how this COVID issue has affected your company or movement of your goods or trucks to different parts of the country or even into Nigeria? How has it affected you? What challenges have you encountered during this period?
Okay, thank you, madam, for giving this opportunity to speak to you and the rest of the people. So, majorly, Greenville LNG is into the basically it's a gas company, liquefied natural gas company, and we are a gas supplier in Nigeria. So if we talk about the impact of COVID-19 on our logistics system, so yes, it's been impacted on our system also, because see, what we have seen throughout the Nigeria is lockdowns in different states, and the borders are major state borders are closed. So most of our supplies are not going beyond the borders. So we have to take the special approval and then talk to the different senior personals, so that the essentials, the where we are supplying the LNG, so the essentials should not stop, and we should continue the supply. So yes, it is being impacted to our company also, and we are trying to supply with this situation also, with this current situation, so that uh, wherever we are supplying LNG, so they should not stop their industry and they should continue their production. Just to address you, we are supplying this LNG to major food industries, so which comes under essential services. So we are trying all our best to supply LNG and to continue the production of our customers, so that it will continue and people will get benefited from it.
Your prospects after the COVID-19 saga. Want to call in Mr. Weye. Mr. Weye, are you there? Mr. Johnson Weye, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
From CSAV. And I want to hear from you what have been also your challenges, because I know you are an IT person and you have a lot of these programs you developed for logistics companies. Have you had challenges in that? I mean, have they come back reporting that they're having challenges with the softwares, or has it also helped them during this period?
Okay. Thank you very much for having me on this webinar. And it's actually a trying time for the whole world in general. You know,
Yeah.
this pandemic has disrupted all businesses, not just even the essential uh, uh, items that are produced. So it's a worldwide problem. From our own perspective, we are an IT company and we build software for or technology solutions for companies in the logistics industry, the haulage, car rental industry. And what we noticed was that the most of these most of our clients were actually affected by this pandemic. In fact, some of them are have to even pack their vehicles that they use for distribution or for logistics and for car rental. In fact, those clients in the car rental industry are more affected because there was this lockdown and there was absolutely no movement of goods of people. So we found out that most of their vehicles were just parked, and these vehicles were not serving the purpose, to generate revenue for the company. They are just like liabilities back then. So it was a very, very, very difficult time for them. And for our clients that are in the logistics industry, that are into haulage industry, what we also noticed was that yeah, for those that don't move essential commodities like the medical supplies, the PPEs, and also foods and medical uh, supplies and food items, which are deemed to be the essential commodities. Those ones that are not in this particular sector, or those that don't move this particular type of goods, we notice that they struggled during this time because, of course, they couldn't move their materials. They couldn't move the goods from the inventory or from the manufacturers to the consumers. So they are also affected. And what most of them actually did was to repurpose their services to start offering logistics services for the essential commodities. So they started moving the medical supplies and the food items from the factories or from the distributors or from the warehouse to the end users. So that's how they have been able to survive during this period. This is basically our experience from our clients and from our users at the moment. Thank you.
How we're going to move forward with your applications after the post COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much, Mr. Oweye. Now, I want to actually ask Mr. Tusha. I want to ask Mr. Tusha specifically, maybe Mr. Stevenson, the role of insurance at this moment, at this critical time. What is the role of insurance, especially like Mr. Stevenson was talking about some trucks taking livestock to the east. If, for example, some of the chicks were lost, they died, what role should insurance play? That's one question. Another question is actually on logistics companies having insurance, having insured their trucks or the company totally. I'm not sure. I don't know whether they have this relationship with insurance companies that could pick up these issues when they happen.
Okay, so I will not be in a totally in a position to answer on your first question, but just to add on what you have said, yes, our trucks are insured, and I will be more interested to speak on the opportunities of the post COVID-19 era. So you all know, we all know, everybody is impacted, on not only the logistic but every other industry is impacted with this COVID-19. So it is very important now what are the opportunities after this particular pandemic, and how we can keep our margins safe, uh, how we can run our businesses with the same situation as we were doing earlier. So I will be more interested in speaking upon the opportunities after post COVID-19 era in logistic industry.
Thank you so much. Mr. Stevenson, do you have anything to say to that? We've been expecting Mr. Delano. He's not here. He would have taken up properly on that. So I don't know if you have anything to say if if logistic companies have any relationship with insurance companies. And
the basic thing about it is this: every sector is affected. However, in terms of the logistics, most of the insurance companies must have taken their premiums, or they're taking the premiums since the beginning of the year. And there is what you call natural causes, which actually could occur, especially with the COVID-19 issue. Nobody expected it. But what has happened over time, from my interaction, especially with let me talk about the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation. I spoke with the managing director, and what she was saying is that, look, they're going to be expecting a lot of claims. But with these claims we made possible or not, yesterday there was a conversation about the fact that contract delays and all of that at the insurance industry. So the insurance industry should be able to brace up for claims to come, whether they like it or not. Because at the end of the day, people who are moving goods that have had casualties along the road and mortality rates in terms of the chicks, they are going to come with claims, all right? However, what the insurance companies will be requiring people to do is to come up with genuine claims, not necessarily because you say because of lockdown and something has happened. But it's not something that can be removed completely from this whole sector. Yes, everybody is doing palliative, everybody is doing CSR. CSR is different from premium or something that has been done or what I have paid for. So it is expected that we are going to see so many companies coming forward with claims of things being delayed, or for instance, let's say for instance some demurrage of goods that have arrived in ports and they have not been cleared for so many days. There's no way the Nigerian Ports Authority or any other of these container terminals are going to say, okay, because of COVID-19, I'll give you a clear your goods within this period. They are going to start counting from day one. So that's where the challenge is. So where lies also the passion that, or the compassion that people are supposed to show to ensure that people navigate this process without losing millions. Every other operators, companies in this industry, in the whole world, in all sectors, especially from the month of February, March to the end of May. So for the insurance industry, they will brace for to see claims coming forward, but in terms of how to navigate out of these difficulties. So I think that's where, but going forward for the logistic businesses, like for instance, some of the organizations, like for instance, our sponsors here, Zenith KRS, is into logistics that move goods from countries to country. Maybe Mr. Adelano, when he is able to join us, it is the responsibility of whoever is moving products to insure them, For instance, if I'm importing from India, it is
Yeah.
my responsibility to ensure my products there's good on transit. All right, goods on transit insurance that will have been taken before moving the product, which means that already before that product leave the destination, they leave the origin, the place of origin, it must have been insured. There must have been insurance on goods on transit. Where you can have issues is that how long will this insurance last? For instance, if it's 30 days and now COVID-19 has made it to travel for another 60 days. All right. So what happened in between those periods? And that's where the insurance companies are going to have issues in terms of litigation and the rest of them. But we should expect that something is going to happen within the logistics aspect of the whole value chain. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So when Mr. Delano comes in, he will give us he will throw more light on that. I'm going to call back Mr. Weye. Mr. Weye, please. I'm calling you back. Are you there, Mr. Weye?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm calling you back to enlighten the logistics companies on digitalization and automation during and even post the pandemic, because I'm not even sure that all the logistics company, even the ones present here today, have automated system that they use to run their operations.
Okay. Thank you very much. So the in the past, in the old normal, let me say this, would have had this webinar in or this particular conversation in a very different physical location, and with lots of hugs, peace, our high fives,
Mm.
and the rest. But in this new normal, which is now called, this is what we are reduced to. This is what we can do. We have to have this type of conversation online. So basically, that is the challenge most of the companies are facing at this at this time. But there are going to be lots of benefits going forward, because um, the paper that companies do carry, even post COVID, when everybody comes back and in the new normal, there's going to be the paper that people carry in the office for things like the sign of documents, the reliance of companies on paper for things like the sign of documents, for memos, for approvals in the workplace. Those things are now potential means for COVID-19 to spread, right? So that means companies will have to do away with those physical documents and memos. All right. So I was asking the other time, should we even look at should I talk about the effect post COVID now, or it's going to be later in
No,
the
okay, you
discussion?
can no go ahead and talk about that. I think it
Okay.
was
So
one of the questions I asked earlier on. Go ahead.
okay. Okay. So what we now see is that most companies will have to deal with paper, because now paper is also a cause of can be an agent for COVID-19 to spread. And another thing we need to also notice that management will have to put in lots of strategies in place in the workplace to reduce human-to-human interaction, and that can only happen via technology. So, and basically, what we also think is that most companies that will be able to run on run remotely, run their operations remotely around this time, we believe that post COVID, they will likely keep it that way. That means most companies will still prefer to run remotely, because it's actually better, it's safer for the employees, and it's also cheaper in the long run. So those are really important considerations. And in the past, technology used to implement technology, in business operations is always seen as a luxury. That means companies see it as something like a good to have, right? And
Yeah.
they see it as and the main thing that actually drives implementation of technology those days are things related to transparency, process control, effectiveness, cost reduction, and the rest. But there's a new giant in town, which is safety.
Yeah.
Now implementing technology to for the safety of employees is now another business case for implementing technology. So when I mean safety, I'm talking about social distancing, because this is the first time in my own lifetime that this kind of disease is going to affect humanity, and it has changed the way we work, the way we live, the way we even interact with each other.
Yes. Yes.
Therefore, companies have to adapt and also try to limit human-to-human physical interaction in the strategically. They have to do that, and that
Yes.
will require implementing technology to do this. So I'm going to look at some technologies that may even come into play going forward
Mm.
with respect to supply chain and logistics. I'll just run through some of them. There's the emerging technologies that we've been looking at for the past 1 or 2 years,
Yeah.
like the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, robotics, and autonomous cars, and lots of other technologies like that. What is happening in the world today may expedite the adoption of those technologies. That means there is so much need for those technologies now because anything that would reduce the physical interaction between individuals, between humans, is
Yeah.
going to really sell around this time. Anything that is going to either eliminate the human uh, um, participation in the particular process or reduce the interaction between humans is going to really sell at this time. So any form of such technology is going to be adopted heavily during this period. And some of this technology, we've been using some and some are still very new. So let's talk about Internet of Things. So Internet of Things is basically a way for things to be interconnected. So when I mean things, both living and non-living things, to be interconnected over the internet to be able to exchange information and talk to each other. But the way it's going to work around this time is, in fact, we've implemented some of them in vehicle tracking and telematics solution, in which logistic manager can easily track the location and the delivery status of goods and also automate some of his fleet management activities, e.g. fleet maintenance. The vehicle can let you know when it's due for maintenance, for example. So with that, the interaction between the driver and the fleet manager or the logistics officer becomes so reduced. And the
Yeah.
fleet officer can actually work from anywhere from his home and will still be able to effectively administer or manage his or her fleet. Then for warehouse management, which is part of chain management,
Yeah.
the implementation of RFID can enable contactless inventory management for inventory that is in transit and also access. So, e.g., for example, you can, with RFID, stock taking that could have taken months in the particular warehouse
Mm.
can just take a matter of hours or less than a day. Stock taking that should have been done by maybe a team of 10 to 15 people can now be
Yeah.
done by just one person in the world. So with that, you've limited human-to-human interaction and also reduced the number of people that have to be on site to work. So that's that. Then another technology that may really be of huge impact is artificial intelligence and robotics. You know, robots are basically machines that doesn't have they're basically machines which are powered by AI, which are powered by artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they are not humans, so they can be affected by COVID-19 or any form of virus.
Okay.
So companies most likely, especially those manufacturing companies, they start adopting robots to replace factory workers and warehouse workers. And because of that, they can ensure continuity of the operation in case of any other pandemic in the future. So that's another thing that companies start looking at and start adopting, both in agriculture, pharmacy, FMCG, every form of manufacturing sector, will most likely implement this. Then another one that may also be very important is autonomous cars or driverless cars. You know, these are cars that have the ability to sense what is going on in the environment and they can actually drive themselves without human involvement. They call them driverless cars. So these driverless cars, unlike humans, they don't have to rest. They don't get tired. You know, the vehicles can work 24 hours in a day. You know, but in logistics, when you have drivers are mandated to have a period of rest and work. So
Yeah.
that means they can't work around the clock. But
Yeah.
with these autonomous vehicles, you can have trucks, self-driving trucks that are delivering things all through as in all day, as in without round the clock.
Mm.
So that also is going to reduce the interaction between drivers and passengers and customers. You know, and I see when this becomes mainstream, I see lots of companies adopting this. Then again, it's going to eradicate the driver problem that the logistics industry currently have. They'll tell you one of their main problems are the drivers. So with this, most likely they will likely adopt this technology. Then another technology that may be useful, especially for last mile delivery, are drones. We've been seeing drones around mostly for taking pictures, videos, and the rest. But there's another type of drone that can actually deliver items to the end users or to the customers. So they are currently being tested and used by some companies. Amazon, I think, implemented some at the time where drones can actually deliver items that you order online directly to you. So uh, this technology too can also help in last mile delivery to make last mile delivery very effective and remove human interface in last mile delivery. Drones also can move very small items in the factory and also in the warehouse. So that means you may have less need for people in your factories and in your warehouse. People that end up moving small items from one location to the other in the production cycle. Drones can actually replace those and even what's it called? Drones and robots can replace humans in some of these scenarios. Then virtual reality and augmented reality is another very interesting technology that is coming out now. And basically, what this helps you to do is to visualize something even without your physical presence in that particular location. So let me cite an example. There is a company, IKEA. It's a furniture company. So they have furniture stores all over the world. They implemented a solution which allows their customers to just put in a virtual reality headset from the comfort of their home or anywhere. They can just plug in, put, wear a VR headset, and from the comfort of their home, they can browse the material, the items that are in store. So they can actually just take a walk in a particular warehouse without actually being there physically or in a particular retail store, and they go in there and check the items they want to buy and make purchases. In fact, the augmented reality part can also help them to see if you are buying a furniture and you want to put it in your living room. You can actually use the augmented reality to see how this furniture is going to fit into your living room. As in, you can visualize it and see how it's going to fit into your living room. So now that most people won't be visiting stores that often again, you won't be people will tend not to go to the market as they used to. They tend not to visit and spa and all those other online those physical stores. They prefer to shop online. And the companies may start adapting this or implementing this virtual reality and augmented reality for people to have a feeling of being inside the store, despite that the fact that they are not actually in the store and to take
Yeah.
items to buy things. So that's another thing that we need to keep an eye on. Then lastly, this has actually been around for years now. Is cloud computing. So with cloud computing, because we know that the companies now have to go paperless, either it's not by choice, but because now paper can actually transmit COVID-19. So
Yeah,
you can
that's true.
you can you can use paper like that. And
Yeah.
I think the government may even have policies around this, so you may even be forced to eradicate paper within the organization. And that
Mm.
is something that companies will really need to look at. So we may see companies now digitalizing most of their operations, number one, because of this. And apart from that, digitalizing it is not even enough because after digitalizing it, you also need to be able to enable your employees to have access to these resources or to these company processes anywhere they are in the world. So from the comfort of their home with an internet connection. So this is where cloud computing comes in. So you can have all these your processes digitalized and hosted in the cloud, and from there, anybody can connect to it. Your customer can connect to you. Your employees can collaborate, can communicate. There are lots of cloud computing tools already that people can leverage. Part of it is this Zoom that we're using for this meeting today, and there are other tools like Google Docs, Google Apps. Microsoft has Microsoft Office 365 for those memos that you are used to that we use physical papers for. Now they can use Microsoft Office 365 for that. So there are lots of tools that are coming out there for sales, for logistics, for monitoring, for maintenance of assets, and lots of other things that are coming out there. So basically, companies. The thing is, what I believe is that what has happened in the world now, nations are going to adapt. And when they adapt, that means that nations won't want to depend on other countries or countries like China for their essential commodities again and for their basic commodities. That means countries are going to invest heavily on local production of, uh, of, of materials. And when that happens, it's going to put so much pressure and opportunity in the logistics sector because there will be local movement of these goods and services. Because now we are producing a lot and we are going to have more movement of goods within locally. So companies that are positioned in technology-wise and also in terms of capacity, I think will
Mm.
be able to take advantage of this opportunity that's going to come up uh, post-COVID-19. So I would just advise companies to look into technology and also to find a way to expand their capacity and also to adapt where they need to adapt and have strategies in place for to control risk going forward and have backups in place, especially in supply chain where materials may be, for example, when China was stopped all their factories and their manufacturing production, I mean, when they had to stop because to flatten the curve, for example, most companies were industries were left stranded across the world because China is the leading manufacturer or they are the leading in terms of manufacturing. They are the leading world leader in terms of manufacturing, and most industries were left stranded. And because of that, now companies will have to look for backup going forward. When I mean backup both locally to source materials locally and also to source materials from different regions, both geographical regions and different companies across the world, so that they won't be stranded going forward. So that's another thing that most companies will have to look at. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Weye, for that insight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going to come back to this. I want to call up on Mr. Tusha. Mr. Tusha, on the opportunities the logistics companies have.
Okay, so let me share my screen so people will understand what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
okay.
Okay, so I will what Mr. Johnson said right now. Some of the implementations into the logistic industry in terms of IT things. So we're continuing the same thing. Like we will be more interested and will focus on how the logistic industry can use LNG and get benefited with the use of LNG in the transportation segment. So basically, to talk about, let me just go through these few slides so that you will understand what exactly I meant to say. So
Okay.
I will just keep this part. Greenville. I will request all of you to just go on the website greenvillelng.com and you can see how exactly this company is functioning. We are basically the LNG company, liquefied natural gas company, and we supply LNG to different companies in Nigeria. Around like now 12 to 15 customers are running and few more are coming and the construction work is going on. So if we talk about LNG, then LNG can be used in different segments. Major is the industrial segment where you can use the LNG for your boilers, for your kiln and all other things. The second major application is into the power segment where you can use the LNG to run your generators, to run your turbines, and you can generate the electricity. And the major which we cannot neglect here is the transportation industry, which we will be talking about how exactly this LNG can be used for the transportation industry. So you can see this is not the new that LNG is being used in LNG is being used in the automobile or the transportation segment. You can see on the screen there are different applications, not only the trucks, but it includes buses, mixtures, tippers. All these different equipments, heavy equipments are using LNG since long time. When I say LNG, it's basically natural gas which they are using.
Mm.
uh, how we are trying to the opportunity for these logistic companies, how we are trying to say is there are two different segments where different segments within the transport industry where we can use the LNG. I just would like to let you all know that currently we are having around 300 trucks in Nigeria, which are used for the transportation of LNG from our plant, which is located in Port Harcourt, to different customers which are located in Nigeria, right from, let's say, from Lagos to different Kaduna, Kano. So all across Nigeria we have customers, and our trucks, if you see this yellow colored trucks are used. These are 100% LNG trucks, so not a single drop of diesel we are using. And we are using this since now it's more than a year, and we have seen a lot of benefits with the use of LNG fuel trucks. Because earlier we were using diesel trucks, and then we converted it to, or maybe we changed it to LNG trucks, and then we have seen a lot of benefits of using LNG trucks for our transportation segment. So there are, if you talk about the benefits, there are commercial benefits, there are environmental benefits, and there are operational benefits. So which I will be talking in later on segment. So what we are proposing to the logistic companies to save or to use this opportunity, first is to use 100% LNG fuel trucks instead of having your diesel truck. If you are planning to buy the new trucks, then you go for instead of going on the diesel, you go on the LNG trucks. So I will show you the how cost effective it is. And second, which we are proposing it is like if you are already having the diesel trucks, so then we have the technology. We have our partner companies from Thailand, which can convert your diesel truck into dual fuel truck. So where you can use diesel as well as LNG for your truck, and you can get the financial and the commercial benefits. So it's not only. I just like to mention that it's not only trucks, but it's other equipments are also there, like material handling equipments, these mining dumpers, where we can go for the dual fuel, or we can go for the 100% LNG usage, and which is possible. Now it's if you see the European market, the Asian market, the American market, they are already using LNG for their transport equipments, and they are using it since long time. The main like will now go for the benefits of using LNG into this transport segment is, let's say if you are going for the DDF kit, then it's really a low investment equipment, low investment kit, which can be easily implemented, which then it is the capex is very low, then which can give you the fuel saving cost up to 30%. It depends upon different parameters, but definitely we can save up to 30% with the use of DDF kit into the your diesel trucks. If you talk about the new LNG truck, then definitely your saving will go up to 40%. There are other benefits in terms of your operational cost, like maybe your torque and power will increase in your diesel truck, and you can get the benefits of in your maintenance costs. Again, there is a major use of DDF kit is in terms of once you install it, then you can have the tanks in different capacities, and which can go up to 600 700 kilometers of distance easily. Okay, so this is majorly on the DDF kit components. So I will not much focus on this part, because this is something like I will show you the different pictures all together, where you can see how exactly we have done this. Um, Typical installation for the DDF kit on your trucks takes around 1 to 2 days, or maximum 3 days. We have this already in all this equipments and everything is in place in Kaduna in our workshop, where we can people can bring their trucks, and then we can do this conversion job easily. Actually, we with our own old diesel trucks we have implemented. If you see this blue color truck, then we have already done this conversion with our own trucks, and then we are using these trucks for our own use, and then we have realized, okay, there are a lot of benefits of converting your diesel trucks to dual fuel trucks. Okay, this we can skip it. I will directly go to the cost benefits so that we can then we can come to the different parts of it. Yeah. So if you see on the screen, I have taken a typical case of particular distances. How our logistic companies run a truck in a month. So let's say if you have one truck and which can go easily around like 5,000 to 600 kilometers per month. So it's close to like 200 to 215 kilometers per day, which is possible with all the logistic companies. And now I have taken the data on today's date. So if you see the today the diesel cost is really low, like it has gone down to 190. The crude oil price has dropped, everything has dropped. But definitely after the post COVID-19, after this epidemic, the price will be go back to maybe the normal situations like 220 to 30 naira per liter, and then maybe we can get more benefits or more saving in terms of fuel usage. Then you can see LNG. We are selling LNG all across Nigeria in terms of dollars, but if you convert it into naira, it is coming somewhere around 173 naira per kg. And then these are the different parameters, physical properties of the diesel and the LNG. How much kilometers you can go in 1 liters is close to like 2 kilometers you can go easily with a diesel truck, and with our LNG truck you can go easily with the 3 kilometers per kg. So now if you take all this parameter into consideration, and then you instead of your the diesel truck, you use the LNG truck, then you can definitely see that there are around savings of 31.61 percentage in terms of only in terms of fuel usage. Actually, we have calculated more, but as the today's diesel price is less, so it is coming somewhere around 31. Otherwise, if you take 220 or 210 as a diesel price, so it definitely it goes beyond 40% of 40% saving in terms of your fuel. Um, you see, this is only the in terms of fuel, and other benefits which we can see is in terms of the maintenance cost. So that cost maintenance savings are different, and that is also close to 30-35%. When I say the maintenance cost saving, then it comes to as we are using the LNG trucks, then in terms of your maintenance, you use less fuels, you use less lubricant oils. Your duration for the change of lube oil is more in terms of in case of LNG trucks in compared to diesel trucks. So that's how you can save more in LNG trucks than in diesel trucks. Uh, this is the one segment. This is one area, and the second which I will also focus is the DDF kit, a diesel dual fuel kit. So already people are having lots like hundreds and hundreds of trucks. Logistic companies, fleet owners, construction companies, they are already having their own diesel trucks. So it is not possible for all of them to change the fleet into completely into the LNG fleet. So this will be the right solution for all of them to implement this dual fuel kit, and they can use simultaneously diesel also and LNG also. So there are rather than in this case there are more advantages, like if you don't have LNG available, then anytime you can go 100% on diesel. Already your existing system is there, so you can use that. Now if we talk about the cost benefits or the commercial benefits, then I say I've taken the same case of 6,000 kilometers per month, and then uh, you can see the percentage of diesel usage and the LNG usage. Actually, what happens is when you use the DDF kit, then it replaces your diesel usage into the chambers in different percentages. So it differs from right from 50% to 70%, and that depends upon different parameters like your terrain, your condition of your truck, your condition of your vehicle, how you are using it, how you are maintaining it. So right from 50% to 70%, you can get the variation. And if you're maintaining your vehicle in a good condition, then you can go up to 70% of replacement, 70% of displacement. So maximum displacement you do with the diesel, then you get more benefits. So with the current conditions also, you can see we are getting somewhere around like not less than 22% savings in terms of your fuels. If we again take the the normal cost of diesel, which sometimes it goes to 220 or 215 to 20, then it goes beyond 30%. So these are the practical cases, and these are the values which we are getting from our own trucks, our own converted trucks. We are getting these values, and we are running this all across Nigeria. So these are the benefits. So now I will just want to highlight how exactly this looks like, this PDF kit and all this looks like, so that people can understand what I am talking about. So you just see this. Okay, so this is our. If you can see my screen, then this is our old diesel truck, and okay, this one. And then we did this case study, or we did this conversion on this truck, and then there were a lot of changes. It's not a lot of changes, but it's so majorly only few implementations which we did. See, you can see we are. This is a tank of 500 liters LNG tank, which will be mounted on your truck, which will be a separate rather than your diesel tank. So you can see this tank is only we are putting it on a diesel truck, so that we can use it for dual fuel job. Apart from that, now only what changes we make in the system is only there are only few changes in the system. So let's say like we are not touching any part of your engine, but we are only putting along with your in your turbocharger along with your air, we are inserting gas. So what happens in the system is, instead of taking diesel, it starts taking gas, and it replaces or it displaces the diesel. So once it starts displacing diesel, then ultimately your diesel consumption reduces and your cost reduces, and your use of LNG or your use of you see this LNG is stored, and it has the system where it can automatically convert it. So vaporizers are already inbuilt there, and it can convert that LNG in the gas form, and then it can be inserted in chunks. So so I will show you how exactly it looks after the implementation. Okay, so this is a image. You can see these are the only. Okay, these are the only changes which we have done. If you can see, there are some lines which we are. These are the gas lines. We are gas injectors which we are inserting into the turbocharger. And apart from that, we are not touching any part of the engine, so that your whatever earlier the diesel engine was functioning, your compression ignition was functioning, it will remain the same. Actually, most of the people ask us, okay, is it possible to convert 100% on LNG? But I would just like to inform that, or would like to address here, that as your diesel trucks runs on the compression ignition principle, and your petrol engine or your gas engines are the spark ignition. So 100% is not possible, but your pilot fuel will remain the diesel, but you can displace this in terms of percentages. So it's possible, and once you start replacing it, so you can you will get the benefits out of it. So this is the only thing which we are changing here, and I will show you how after the change it looks like. So after implementation, you see this TDF kit. It's only this tank which is the additional. You can see this diesel tank is already there, and this is the additional LNG tank. So in combination, you can use it, and then you can get the cost benefits out of it. So now this study which we which we have done in our with our own trucks, and we are quite happy with the savings we are getting. And So along with that, there are also a lot of companies in which we with which we are in touch for this implementation. So there are two segments. Concludingly, I have to say that there are two segments where we can see the use of LNG in transportation industry. So one is the 100% LNG trucks, and the second is the DDF trucks. Because see, we don't know now this COVID situation how long it will last. We are not sure about it, and then it is very necessary to keep our margins same as it was earlier, because the business has reduced. Whatever business we were getting earlier is not same with everybody. So keeping in mind that we have the limited business, but we have to keep our margins same, or if you have to increase the margins, then this is a good area where every logistic company can think of converting their trucks into the DDF kit, or buying. If you are thinking of buying the new trucks, then you can go for 100% LNG trucks. Talking about our refill stations, so already my company Greenville has put 5 filling stations all across Nigeria, and which are functioning, which are running, where your trucks can go and you can fill the LNG. So if you see the Kaduna, then one is in Cotton Cafe in Kogi State, one is in Benin, one is in Shagamu, and one is in Rumuji in River State, where our plant is. So these all our filling stations are operational. Already our trucks, which we are using for transportation of our own LNG supplies to our customer, they are going to the stations and they are filling the LNG for their own usage. So once people will buy their own trucks, LNG trucks, or they convert on a DDF, then they can go to the same stations with the price of current price of whatever it is. So you can go and you can fill the LNG in your trucks and you can use it. So this is one part, and apart from that, we are also offering for this conversion. So if I have to talk about the DDF kit conversion, then we are taking all responsibility of procuring the DDF kit, then doing the conversion job. So all the operational and the tuning, installation of tank, everything will be done by us. Yeah, the facility is currently available in Kaduna workshop. You see, this is our Kaduna workshop, and okay, you see this is our Kaduna workshop. So all around there are around 14 bays where this facility is there. So we can do this job, and then again we will provide a training to will provide training to different your drivers, or to the customers, where they can see how they can use it, and how they have to regularly use the LNG and the DDF kit component part. Apart from that, we have all the remote services which are available in Nigeria. We have mobile refuelers, towing vans that is already in place in Nigeria. Okay, okay. This is what I said, and in second we will be going for another 7 stations in Nigeria. We are using cost benefit analysis already done. So now frequently asked questions. So there are a lot of questions which we face from the customer in terms of this kit and in terms of the usage of LNG. So I will request everybody, if they have if they have any questions, they can anytime ask me. But I will just go through few of the questions which are the very common in by the customer. So usually people say, what changes you are going to make. So the answer is very clear that there are no modifications in the system, but it's only additional components which we will be putting onto the system in terms of your ECU and all that. Then there are other changes which other questions which we say is there any performance? What about the performance? So performance remains the same or it improves. Then how major part people come up with a warranty clause. So yes, we provide a warranty of 12 months on the DDF components and 3 years on the LNG storage tank. So that is possible. We provide that warranties on our components. Again, the major question, which is what is the peak displacement, what is the average displacement. So peak displacement we can easily get up to 70%, and the average we are getting is average which we are getting is in the range of 60 to 65%. So again, there are some environmental benefits also. Your emissions reduces, and you can easily go for it. So conclusively, I just want to I would like to say everybody that uh, taking this will be the right time for everybody to implement this in your logistics system, so that you can get the benefits of this, and you can use more and more of LNG, and you can save in your operational cost. Because we are not sure how the situation in future. This is just an it is being said that it's the first phase of corona. So second phase will maybe it will come, or may we don't know the situation, but it will be the right time for everybody to look and implement in terms of to keep the our margins safe, to keep to save in terms of our cost. It will be the right time. So I think you can ask, you can reach out to us, and you can send your questions. You can ask your questions, and definitely I'm very much sure that all the logistic company will be very much benefited, very benefited with the use of DDF kits in their own trucks.
Okay, thank you, Tusha. Thank you, Mr. Tusha. You've actually taken us through what Greenville Logistics has put in place to ensure that even after the post COVID-19,
Right.
they will be back to business in full force and have a lot of opportunities to pursue. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Tusha. I want to ask, does anybody have questions for Mr. Tusha?
Okay, I think I'll have question for Mr. Tisha, but first let me go to Mr. Oweye. I hope he's still with us.
Yes, he's still with us.
So if he's still with us, my question would be that based on the survey conducted by Natafam David Consulting, if you understand that the global logistic market in 2018 accounted for about about 11 billion. And also it's projected to maybe in the next 2-3 years to be about 15 billion during this period. Now, in terms of the technology he was talking about, the lack of uniform governance standards in developing and underdeveloped countries, what factor is they going to play in terms of the kind of technology we are going to be applying? I don't know if you understand what I mean in terms of the uniform governance structure in developing and underdeveloped economies and countries, which actually is strengthening the growth of the market. So can you shed more light on that?
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. And if you're talking about standards and uniform structures that are put in place by the world governing body or different associations, and that is going to impact logistics and post COVID. There are different. So there are different types of bodies that are involved here. So health-wise, the WHO has been at the center of this pandemic, and every guidelines and strategy that each country is putting in place actually originated from the guideline that was set by WHO, which has to be adapted to each country. So that also applies to every other sector. So not just health. So if you're also looking at other sectors like logistics, like you have the likes of some regulation of Nigeria, you have the ISO standards, International Standard Organization. So we're going to have lots of changes in lots of bodies are going to come together. The governing bodies are going to come together, and they're going to come up with strategies or new guidelines on how to operate post-COVID. There are different bodies. We have bodies that are government which are not combatant with the ISO bodies that are in charge of that. So I'm very sure there are going to be new guidelines across board, same for logistics, supply chain, manufacturing industry, clothing, every form of industry. So there are going to be the bodies are going to sit up, meet, and come up with new guidelines, new standards that every other sub, I can call it sub organization or the associations that are under them have to adapt to and now create their own standard and their own guidelines for the users that are under them. So basically, we are going to be getting lots of guidance from the international body, and we are going to be adapting these standards to fit our own use cases here in Nigeria in all the industries. And now, and lots of things are going to change. We are talking about the new normal, the way we used to work, the
Yeah.
way we used to relate with each other, the way we used to manufacture, the way we used to do everything is going to change. And there's no one nation or one sector that can make rules for themselves without actually adapting what is coming from the international body. So we're going to be listening to international bodies, and we're going to be adapting, and we're going to be following their guidelines and coming up with what actually works for individual local organizations or local industries or local associations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now let me now go to Mr. Teacher. I don't know if Mr. Teacher, are you hearing me?
Yes, 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 yes. I can hear you.
Okay. So now the question I would like to ask you, in view of the entire structure that Greenville LNG has put in place. Now,
Yeah.
let's first of all talk about standard. Standard in the sense that who maintains your standard, who certified your re-engineer. In other words, you are retooling or re-engineering a particular model of a vehicle. In other words, does it affect the engine? Or does it affect anything in terms of what I use? I know that hybrid vehicles, most times you can switch to gas when the fuel is done, which are factory-made solutions. However, in terms of Greenville, what you're saying is that
Yes.
you can put an LNG in an already existing structure, all right, to be able to move certain kilometers if there is no gas
Yes.
or what have you, or even move the gas first. So
Right.
who controls the standard in terms of what you're putting together to ensure that there will be no issue along the way in terms of what you have reconstructed, so to speak.
Okay. Thanks for this question, sir. So there are two scenarios in this. When you the first scenario, when you buy the truck or any equipment, then it comes along with some warranty in it.
Yeah.
So, and let's say for 2 years or 3 years, you have warranty on your truck or on your vehicle, and then till that time, the OEM, the supplier, the manufacturer takes the responsibility of everything. Whatever maintenance or whatever parts you want it, then he takes the responsibility of your equipments. Once your warranty part is finished after 3 years, let's say after 3 years, then it is your responsibility. Then you can do it anywhere. You can go for your local mechanic or anything. So usually now what you said is who takes the responsibility. So now I would like to focus on that. In our own company in Greenville, we have our engineering team which is capable of doing all these changes. First part. Second, now if you are talking about any kind of a OEM, then it's in consideration with that. If the vehicle is under warranty, then it's in discussion with the OEM that okay, we are implementing this, and then okay, these are the changes which we'll be doing, and once they approve it, then we go for it. Third condition: if the vehicle is already out of warranty, then it doesn't matter if you talk to your OEM or not, because it's your vehicle, and then you can do anything. So in most of the cases, we have seen that all our now different customers, they are easy. They are very open to go for this technology, open to go for these changes. Also, they are taking the opinion of their OEM. Maybe it is a Mercedes, maybe it is a Tata, Mahindra, maybe it is Sinotruk. All these other brands manufacturer, they are taking the opinion, and what we have received the feedback from different our own customers, rather than we speaking to different OEMs, we are getting the feedbacks from our customers that okay, they are approving it or they are saying okay to this technology, because we are not the first who are inventing this technology. It's all across the globe. People are using it. If you see in China, in Europe, they're already using this technology since long time, and they are taking the advantage of it. So it's it possible. Uh, as far as your conversion part is concerned, conversion job is concerned. So we have our in-house team which can do this kind of job, and they can also give the training to your drivers. And but the main question which you ask is, without changing anything, the already the system is there, the diesel engine is there, and what kind of changes we are doing. So I would like to again address on this point that we are not changing any component or any part of the existing system, because we cannot do it. We are just implementing some additional parameters which are suitable for usage of gas. Because you see now what I said is, if you don't have LNG or if you don't have gas available, then in any time your truck can run on 100% diesel with your own existing or the earlier system. So that is possible. So that is one part, and we are not changing any of its part, any of its engine components. And thirdly, this about the distance. So this distance is combination is possible. Currently, we are putting the tank of 500 on one truck. With this tank, with this capacity tank, and diesel LNG combination, it can easily go up to 650 to 700 kilometers before second fill. So it's very much possible that with the 500 liters of tank, you can go up to 700 kilometers without second fill. And if you increase the tank capacity, then definitely you can increase your distances as per the tank capacity. I hope this answers your question.
Now, yeah, I want to believe so. But then secondly, let me just say it this way: the economic impact of COVID-19, to be honest,
Right.
has demonstrated, whether we like it or not, how businesses must respond to supply chain disruption. Okay,
Right.
and no doubt about it. So therefore, now you are saying that responding to this going forward post COVID-19, one of the basic
Right.
tools for companies or FMCG and OEMs should look out for is the use of Greenville, any other LNG for logistic reasons. So could you expatiate a little more on that in terms of how the cost benefit, which you have said a little about it, and then the distance your LNG can cover in terms of mileage, and also how people should be able to respond to this immediately in terms of the usage of LNG, both in the construction, in the FMG, in the entire sector. Can you a little bit expatiate on that going forward?
Yes. So, first point, I would like to address to everybody that Greenville has already set up all LNG infrastructure for the benefits of Nigeria all across the country. The plant itself, the big LNG producing plant, and in terms of transportation segment, all the refill stations, which I showed, and the few more are coming. So the Greenville itself has invested into all this infrastructure without taking help. So already that infrastructure is ready in Nigeria for the usage of trucks, for the usage of people in Nigeria. First point. Second, now you talked about the distances. Okay, so the distance, if you have to talk technically, then yes, definitely in terms of LNG vehicles, the distance covered in 1 kg is definitely more than 3 kilometers. So this is just a layman language or the common understanding which I am saying. If you take 1 liter of diesel, you can go up to 2 kilometers, and the price which we are paying for 1 liter of diesel is around like 200, currently 210 nairas. So that is the first part of it. Second, in 1 kg of LNG, you can easily go more than 3 kilometers. And the price which you are paying for 1 kg of LNG is like 173, which I showed. It is only due to now the exchange rate, but it will be definitely less than that. So you can see you have two advantages. One, you are consuming less LNG for the same distance, and second, you are getting the cost benefits of LNG versus diesel. So that is the second what you ask about the distances. Now third,
Yes.
yes. Now, and the third thing, the respond after the post COVID-19 era. I truly understand that everybody, including everyone, me, my company, the logistic, everybody is impacted with this COVID-19 situation, the pandemic. It's not only the logistic industry, but it's every other industry, oil, right from oil and gas to aviation. So now we know that as a logistic company, let's say we know that the transactions has reduced. Our whatever number of assignments which we used to get before this pandemic has reduced to, let's say in terms of percentage, let's say it has reduced to 50%. So now we cannot increase the prices, but we have to keep the margins. We have to survive with that same number of with the same business. We have to keep the margins. So now what are the options, what are the different opportunities where we can skip the same margins? So, there are always two options. Once you increase the business, or second, you save in terms of your costs. So what majorly I am focusing, or my company is trying to focus, is on you can save in your operation cost, and that is very much possible through our own experience, through what I showed to you. Already the infrastructure is ready. So people just need to come out. They should see what are the benefits they will be getting from this. They should ask the questions to us. They should implement this, and this will be the right time, because once it will be you will go back to normal, then it will be very difficult to implement this kind of changes. But this will be the right time for everybody to look for these changes, and look for it, and save in terms of your operational costs.
Okay, I'm going to speak on a general terms, Mrs. Van, and this will
Okay.
be good to every one of us.
I just want to have there's a question I have before
Yeah.
we go, before you go in there, from Ifeyinwa Ikweme. Ifeyinwa says she works with a freight forwarding company. She wants more light to be shed on how they can mitigate their challenges post COVID-19.
Okay, so this fall in line with what I want to also talk about now, and then all others can make contribution to that.
Okay.
COVID-19, post-COVID-19.
Yeah.
I would like to say that today's businesses need to ask some critical questions of their own supply chain, and while some may seem obvious, getting clear answers can often be challenging. And some of the questions we need to ask ourselves is this: do you understand where your input goods are made or produced? First of all, you need to know where they are. Why this may seem easy enough, the complexity starts when you move down below their own supplies. Who supplies the raw materials or sub-assembly component that goes into their own products? You need to understand where those products are coming from and how are they going. Have all of your significant suppliers undertaken a similar assessment? Do they know where their inputs are sourced from? Don't be caught out by the indirect exposure of this event. Thirdly, do you know what the logistic routes look like? Because at the end of the day, this is the time to actually evaluate where these things are coming from, the timeline it takes. Having working capital tied up in stocks and dock sides can be challenging from both an operational and liquidity point of view. I think the other one is that we need to dig a little further. Have those contingency options already reached capacity or been contractually secured? We need to look at our financials. Like she just asked now, if anyone just asked the question, what can they do? What is normal? What is normal in these circumstances is the fact that we have COVID-19. It has taken us to the non-normal circumstances of the way to do things. The company itself, which is into a logistic business, needs to understand where am I mostly. Mostly everyone imports these days from China most of the time. Now, what you get from China, the options will be left for people who are buying these goods, not use the logistic companies. If I'm going to use a logistic company right now, I'm going to first of all think about the fact that do I need to get my product from China, or can I source it from Europe? which will reduce the cost of my fleet, all right? Even though the price may be a little different in terms of the product, but I will also be able to examine the fact that if I import from Romania, for instance, which takes about 5 hours between by flight or cargo between Nigeria and Romania, would that not save me costs? So the logistic companies will need to start looking at the possibility of companies diversifying their operations to get products from closer routes than the Far East because of these challenges. So, but I'm sure more people will be able to enlighten more on this hard question if there are. That's my own opinion.
Okay, thank you, sir. I don't know if Mr. Tusha, do you have anything to say on this?
No, actually, I think he has answered the question rightly.
Okay. All right. If Fayinwa, probably she's there or she's gone. But if you still have questions, just send it through the chat. We'll put it across to our discussants and they will handle them. So far, we thank all our discussants. And it's obvious that the incident of COVID-19 has demonstrated just how important technology is in the 21st century. If we listen to Mr. Weye very, very well, in terms of moving goods, connecting people safely, because it's endangering when people move, move goods from one place to the other, having contact with the goods, and you are moving it to another person, also having contact with that person. And with what is said so far, it's possible to move goods without actually having contact with the goods and whoever you are moving the goods to. So we have seen that technology is very important here after this COVID-19, even during the COVID-19. So we were going to see a sector, or this logistics sector, having e-logistics platforms to enable the sector move goods across continents. And from what Mr. Tusha has also said during his discussions, we should likely be looking at using the natural gas, which will reduce costs and other things that are involved in moving our products from one place to the other. And some other things he said. But I want to just assure us that at the end of the meeting, everyone is going to get this video and then probably listen to it once again and see how we can move forward even after COVID-19. I just want to say that I just want to ask Mr. Weye to give us a kind of last word for us to run with. I know that you've said a lot. You said you've given the advice that a lot of logistics companies should, when resort to using drones, robotics, and all that. So is there anything you want to tell us more just before we go, Mr. Weye?
Okay. Thank you very much, madam. Like I said earlier, it's a very difficult time, and we are experiencing a kind of disruption that I'm not sure has ever happened before. And therefore, companies need to survive this. There are going to be lots of companies, to be sincere, there will be lots of companies that won't be able to survive this. And there will be lots of companies that are going to thrive in this. And there are going to be companies that are going to swallow other companies. Let me put it that way. So you have to determine which type of company you want yours to be. And that is going to take lots of, that will be the ability of will depend on the ability of the management of the company to be able to adapt, right? And then to be able to put in the necessary risk management measures. Because also this first wave, there won't be a second wave or a third wave. Or now that we've experienced COVID-19, there may also be, God forbid, but in the future, things like this may also happen again, and we have to plan for it. So with respect to logistics, there are some logistic companies should find a way to be more flexible and to be lean. When I mean lean, to be able to deliver services without so much bureaucratic constraints, right? To be lean enough and to be agile. And the way to also do this in terms of that flexibility is that, like, um, as, it has been rightly stated, you have to audit your supply chain process, your supply process from the beginning to the end. Who are those? Where are you sourcing your materials from? Who are those people providing components of those materials to the people you are actually sourcing from? And you have to audit those whole process. And auditing help you to see the whole process and also to find a way to improve the process. You may have to need to build maybe backups to your like a you may have to build more backups, more sourcing backups. So when I mean sourcing backups, I mean you can source your products from other locations, geographical locations apart from China. You can look at other locations, Brazil, Europe, even, and more importantly, locally. And like I also said, the government, Nigeria to be specific for now, and most of the other nations, they're going to look inward. They're going to, because they won't want to depend on uh, other countries for the necessities. When I mean necessities, the essential commodities like pharmaceutical. I heard that CBN actually released lots of money to the pharmaceutical industry because they want Nigeria to be self-sufficient when it comes to that. And also for the food sector. Just imagine if the ban on rice was not done before this period and people had to go into rice farming and everything. And that was how we were able to supply ourselves during this period. It would have been very difficult to even source rice in the market because of this COVID-19. But because we're sufficiently, we're able to do this ahead and we have enough supply of rice at this time, it really helped. So I can see the government and CBN and the government as they are putting in structures and policies in place to make sure that we are self-sufficient when it comes to producing some basic commodities and also most especially the essential commodities, the foodstuffs and the medical supplies. That's going to happen. And that's going to open up lots and lots of opportunities for the people in this industry. So if you have factories and all those things, this may be the time to start smiling, to start increasing your capacity because policies are going to come in from government that is going to really help. There will be help. There will be funding into this particular space. There will be injection of liquidity into this particular space, and it will also affect the logistics industry directly. So for the logistics industry to be company to be able to take advantage of this, they have to be very lean. They have to use technology. They have to digitalize their processes. They have to look into the emerging technologies and see the ones that they can afford to use around this time. And again, like the question that was asked by Mr. Kenneth, he asked that what role would standard organizations play in this matter? They're going to give us guidelines, right? And we're going to follow these guidelines to come up with policies. When it comes to health policies and workplace policies, there's going to be the new normal. There's going to be the new way the workplace is going to function. And so that means the government, NCDC, lots of all these organizations are going to come up with new policies and new compliance measures that the companies will have to or workplace will have to abide with for them to be able to run their business. And when these things comes in, one of the most important part is that there's going to be reduction in human to human interaction. Physical interaction between people is going to reduce, and the only way that can be achieved is via technology. Like there will be restriction on gatherings, on meetings, on conferences, on OMBs, and lots of other things. So we need to start putting, as a company, we need to start putting in measures in place to make sure that we start planning towards these things that are going to come in the future. Technology is going to be at the forefront of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Way. Yes, thank you so much. Mr. Tusha, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still there.
Okay, please, can you give us a parting word?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
I think as a summary, I just would like to say that we Nigerians, we as Nigerians has to be together or through all of this because see, today it's COVID-19, tomorrow something else will come.
Yeah.
So we have to be ready for the tomorrow's challenges, whatever hurdles it will come. So maybe it will be in terms of in terms of different industries only, but we have to be together. The main point which we have to focus in this situation is we have to use our domestic resources as much as possible. because if we use our domestic resources, then definitely it will reduce our burden on the foreign exchange, and then we'll be more self reliant. In terms of logistic industry, in terms of transportation segment, I would like to say that we have to come up with the new approaches, the innovative approaches, because because see, tomorrow the world is going to be more and more competitive, so we have to implement these technologies. We have to accept the new challenges. We cannot be same with whatever we were using yesterday. So we have to come up with the innovative approaches, which will definitely save our cost, which will increase our profit, and we have to look for the new and new technologies, which will definitely lead to the betterment of people.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tusha. He's emphasizing the fact that we need to be ready. There could be another pandemic. It may not be coronavirus. So we need to be ready. We need to be proactive. We need to look for innovations to help us stay afloat when we have such situations. Thank you so much, Mr. Tusha from Greenville Logistics. Mr. Stevenson, I don't know if you have a closing word, a parting word for us.
I think I'd like to, yes, definitely. My own word would be for both the logistic companies and also the decisions that may be taken as we speak now by several organizations. Okay. Organizations, whether we like it or not, as well as they are going to look at their operational impact, of this COVID-19. Whether it's a business also needs to consider the impact of potential supply disruption on their own bottom line. That's what's going to happen. Companies will have to be taking decisions. The first step is to pinpoint the orders affected by the disruption to supply. People are going to say, okay, within this period, I couldn't get my supply from certain places. Where do I go next? Just like I said earlier. Yeah. And then I would like to also take also from the point of view of Mr. Tisha from Greenville. Companies are going to look at the fact that, okay, can I reduce my cost by using LNG to transport myself? Yes, the price of oil is going down globally. However, then the LNG has always been cheaper anyway and also environmental friendly. People and goods are the lifeblood of businesses, and disruption of these flows, even for a short period, can have a rapid and severe impact on the immediate condition of the businesses. Therefore, grasping the next will quickly feel at the outset like an overreaction. We shouldn't overreact. But however, we should take systemic action in going forward. The logistic companies are going to reevaluate what do I have to offer. Mr. Oweya has spoken about the technology. Drone which to deliver products is being used anywhere in the developed world already. So in the African continent, how can we adopt this particular system to ensure that, which we also resort to actually, a smaller a workflow. In terms of what I mean, that a smaller workflow means people are going to lose their jobs in the process, because what 3 people can do, 1 drone can actually do it. All these are going to happen. So this is where we say human beings are the lifeblood of businesses. So we need to consider what can I offer. And in terms of the logistic companies, just like Greenville has said, the representative, the companies need to look at, especially transport system, how do I operate on an environment friendly manner so that I will not be impacting the environment by using gas, because at the long run it will be cheaper, all right, and it will also be more environment friendly. So for me, these two keep conversation today from the technology point of view and from the transportation point of view are key to the growth and also the emerging opportunities within the supply chain and the logistic business. So I want to thank you very much, Mrs. Van, for this opportunity, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to have this conversation often so that at least this opportunity can be made open to more people and more international bodies, especially within the African continent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your contributions, and we hope that we'll converge again as often as possible to look at more issues so that the logistics company or sector can move forward and be productive and achieve their aims and objectives. Once again, I want to thank Mr. Oweye of Swiss Solutions. And I want to thank Mr. Tusha from Greenville Logistics, and then Mr. Stevenson. Thank you so much, the CEO of Natafam David Consulting.
Wow,
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone that attended. God bless you.